before I minister the eulogy, as I said before, Dr. Mark Wisniewski played a very instrumental role in the care of the health of Renee Hope. And he's here at this moment. He's also a mentor to Christopher. And so we're going to ask him to come and give remarks at this time.
Thank you all for allowing me to speak here today, particularly for Chris and his family for bestowing the honour on me to actually give a few words about how I got to know Renee Hope, how I got to know Chris, and especially the 3 months that were such a challenge but also such a revelation in terms of Renee's life and time with her family, and in particular with Chris guiding her through the troubled water out to this wonderful communication that they had, in which I was able to witness. I think first I want to give my sincere, heartfelt condolences to the family, Chris's family, friends. I know Renee meant a lot to a lot of people, and a very special person. I want to talk just briefly that in medicine there's a concept of privileges. This is the privilege that doctors and caregivers have to look after other people. It is a privilege and an honor. And it's a privilege and an honor to be drawn into and help another family and to help care for their loved ones. It's a privilege. It's not a job, it's a privilege. And it's in that spirit that I give these words. During the 3 months that Renee was hospitalized, there's one man who I can't see here that should be here instead of me, Dr. Michael Watkins, vascular surgeon at Massachusetts General Hospital, a phenomenal person who I believe gave the gift of those 3 months of life in his surgical way. He spoke to me and told me that he would be here if he could. He has some other family commitments that he has to make. He said to me, "What do you think, Mark, was this the right thing to do this surgery and try?" And I said, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days, 3 minutes of life, any time of life, is precious, is the golden, precious thing. And that as healthcare workers, that's the thing that we must support. And I talked to Michael about the time that had given Chris and his family to be with Renee and talk to her, and also for her to come to peace with herself and with her family, and that this was no mean feat of the 3 months. During those 3 months, I witnessed 3 amazing things. Renee's strength, her tenacity, her direct communication about what she wanted for her life, her care. She was in charge of her destiny. And we all know her personality. She told you what she was thinking. And on many occasions, I think she told many a doctor what she was thinking. But all of it reflected her tenacious will both to live and to live the right type of life and to be in control of her life. I think really to the very last moment, and when she was approaching, as Chris would tell me, giving her life up to God, that she was ready. She had made all of her decisions that she needed to make, and that these months that she'd been hospitalized but in contact with all the people and her God that she needed to be in contact with, she had that time. The other quality was Renee's communication, the way she assessed and analyzed every component of her care. This is very, very important. This was not unconscious decisions she was making. And her communication skills are something that Chris has talked to me about, but it was clearly evident at all times when I was interacting with her and the team that were making decisions about her care. Every decision that was made, she communicated and made a conscious decision that was transmitted and then agreed on. And I think that shows enormous courage, enormous courage. And the final thing, which to me is, in a way, the greatest thing, is that no love was shown greater than this between a mother and her child, and a child and his mother. I witnessed the greatest of love, not just myself, but many, many physicians, nurses, ancillary staff witnessed that love in the somewhat cold environment of an intensive care unit or a hospital or a rehab unit. There was this glowing warmth between Chris and Renee that emanated through the hospital. And I'm not joking. There would be doctors, one in particular who I admire enormously, Dr. Chad Wilson, who stopped me in the corridor and, you know, we would just talk about this for an hour. This was transcending the hospital environment, going on really, as Chris and I talked, into the divine, incomprehensible, impossible to understand. I'll end with another remarkable transcending moment on the phone to Chris. I'm Jewish, and therefore the Psalms matter to me a lot, and they're beautiful writings and transcendental writing. And this morning, I felt that it was important to read one psalm, mostly because Chris had in passing mentioned that he had read every psalm to his mother, sitting at her bedside, ministering to her, advising her, supporting her, loving her. And I turned to Psalm 40 and then called Chris and said, I just will read part of Psalm 40. And Chris said, that is one of the most important psalms that he read to Renee. And for me, that's, again, a transcendental moment. I don't understand it. I had passed the psalm to my wife, Ivona. She'd read it and said, that's amazing. It speaks to all of this. And yet I just found it, in a sense, somewhat guided, but without my knowledge of who, in a sense, was directly guided. Amen. So I'll just read this, just the first part of it, Psalm 40. I put my hope in the Lord. He inclined toward me and heeded my cry. He lifted me out of the miry pit and slimy clay and set my feet on a rock, steadied my legs. He put a new song into my mouth, a hymn to our God. May many see it and stand in awe and trust in the Lord. Happy is the man who makes the Lord his trust, who turns not to the arrogant or to followers of falsehood. You, O Lord, my God, have done many things. The wonders you have devised for us cannot be set out before you. I would rehearse the tale of them, but they are not more than can be told. You gave me to understand that you do not desire sacrifice and meal offering. You do not ask for burnt offering and sin offering or sin offering. Then I said, see, I will bring a scroll recounting what befell me. To do what pleases you, my God, is my desire. Your teaching is in my innermost parts. I proclaimed your righteousness in a great congregation. See, I did not withhold my words, O Lord. You must know it. I did not keep your beneficence to myself. I declared your faithful deliverance. I did not fail to speak of your steadfast love in a great congregation. O Lord, you will not withhold from me your compassion. Your steadfast love will protect me always. Amen. Amen. Amen.